Welcome to Sisterhood Check-In. I am your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and it is Friday. Woo! Yes, it is yet another day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. So I'm excited. I am Nadira Lewis, author and inspirational life and business coach. And all of you that are watching for the first time, welcome to Sisterhood Check-In. If you are watching us via YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. If you are watching us via Facebook, make sure you click like and share if you are blessed by the content that we demonstrate each and every day. Well, today we are going to talk about an interesting topic. We're going to talk about, as soon as my video come back, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, right? We're going to talk about entrepreneurship, and we're going to talk about how managing your household for entrepreneurship prepares you, right? Prepares you for managing a business. So give me 1 second. Let me get my video back on. I forgot to put my phone on do not disturb. So sometimes calls get in and it can kind of interfere with my call. So basically we're going to talk about how managing your house, right? Managing your house will help you to prepare for entrepreneurship, because many of us desire to be entrepreneurs and we get frustrated in the process of becoming an entrepreneur because we feel like if things don't go the way we want them to go, or if things are not functioning the way we want them to, we get discouraged and we start to feel like entrepreneurship is not for us. And in many cases, entrepreneurship is just not. And in some cases, there are some of us that are prepared, that we know we can actually function as an entrepreneur, but we don't really see the things that we're doing in our day-to-day life, how it teaches us to be, how when you become resourceful in your personal life, how it prepares you when you actually start to manage a business. So we're going to get more into this topic, but we're going to go ahead and play this video. So when we come back, we'll get right into our topic. We'll see you after this.
Long before the beginning of all other beginnings, God is. In a burst of creative activity, God creates the world and everything in it. Humans are designed to live inside of this unique relationship, but they choose otherwise. The law of God is broken, and the heart of God is pierced. But the story isn't over. In the fullness of time, God gives his Son, born of a woman, born under the law. Jesus comes to seek and save those who are lost, wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. On the cross, God is in Christ, reconciling the world to himself. And with a loud cry, Jesus breathes his last. But the story isn't over. On the morning of the third day, the power of the living God erupts, breaking through death with the moment that will define all other moments. Perched at the edge of heaven, the angels stand in awe as one of their own rolls away the stone that's guarding the body of Jesus. As if anything can guard Jesus. He walks out of the tomb alive. He is victorious. He is conquering death and rendering the grave unnecessary. He is living and moving and breathing as only the risen Son of God can. But the story isn't over. We are, every one of us, searching and hoping and longing for life. It's a desire that's been deposited into our souls by the very same God who spoke it all into existence. And it's this exact life that the resurrection of Jesus invites us into. So bring your hopes, your regrets, your successes, and your failures, Bring your doubts, your joys, your fears, and your dreams. Be resolute and unwilling to settle for anything less than the abundant life of the risen King. Because truly, if the story isn't over, then what happens next might just change everything.
Ooh. Every time that commercial plays, I never get tired of it. It's so encouraging. And I want you to really pay attention to what the commercial was saying. If the story, your story is not over, okay? Just because you have tried and failed, tried and feel like you're stagnant, your story is not over. And this is why I do sisterhood check-in. I do sisterhood check-in to bring encouragement to you and let you know that, the Bible says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. And so it is my desire that in my testimonial and on the testimony of other women that I bring on the broadcast, it's my desire that our testimonials encourage you to keep going, to keep moving. And we're going to talk about today's topic. Today's topic is entrepreneurship, right? How managing your household prepares you for managing a business. If you are a mother, right? Or if you just a person, even if you're not a mother, right? Mother, wife, single person, whatever. If you are managing your household, right? I want you to pay attention to the things that you have to do in order to and you desire to be an entrepreneur. Look at some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, and you'll be able to see how there's lessons, there's different skill sets that you actually have, right, in order to manage a household, right? When you manage a household, that means you have to get good at managing your finances, because that's the only way bills get paid, right? When you think about if you have children, you and a husband, you have to cook, right? So you have to get great at managing meal times, right? So which means you have to be good at time management, because if you have children and they have to go to school, you have to be able to be up to be able to take them to school. If you have to work outside of your home, you have to be up to be prepared to get on the bus, the train, get in your car to hit the traffic. It prepares you. You're building skill sets that you can use in your entrepreneurship. And I know this is kind of corny, but I was watching a long, long time ago. You probably know what I'm talking about, but Family Matters. Many, many years ago, Family Matters. There was a time when Urkel, right, had actually I think it wasn't Urkel. No, it was Laura. I think it's Laura's mom. Laura's mom was applying for a job, and she was concerned about her skill set, because she was looking at, I don't have this, I didn't go to college, I didn't do this. And she started to look at everything that she already does, and she thought, wait a minute, I am qualified for this job, because the job required her to be a good manager of finances. It required her to be a good manager, because they wanted her to, I think, manage this company or whatever. And she started to get discouraged, because she realized she didn't have the skill set that this company needed. Then she thought about it and she said, wait a minute, I do have these skills. I'm great. I'm the perfect person for this job, because I manage a household, right? And it takes skill set to manage a household, right? Because like I said, you have to learn, you have to be great at managing your money, because you have to be able to make sure bills get paid. You have to be good at managing a family, because if you don't manage your kids, if you don't get them to school on time, you understand time management. If you don't know how to prepare meals, you don't understand how to care. So I don't want you to look at, for some of you that feel like, I can't do this. This is just, I don't have the skill set to be an entrepreneur. Let me tell you, the one required thing that is the most important, and anybody that's an entrepreneur can tell you this, the most important skill set is being resourceful, right? The Bible says, when it talks about the Proverbs 31 woman, it talks about how she went out, right? While her family was asleep. Matter of fact, let's just read it. Let's go right into it, right? I have two scriptures I want to talk about today, but let's go right into it. Let's talk about the Proverbs 31 woman, right? And this is specifically for women. So if there's any men watching, I'm not, you can apply this to your life in however way you see fit. But I'm mainly talking to moms because, I remember before I actually considered myself a business owner, I was an entrepreneur. And I think an entrepreneur, you need to be an entrepreneur in order to have a business, right? Because you have to entrepreneurship, you have to be resourceful. You have to be able to play different roles in order to allow your business to function the way it should be, right? If you want to run a business, you have to be able to have mastered certain skill sets, right? In order to be able to operate your business. So let's look at Proverbs 31. And I won't be before you long. I just wanted to share this with you. Proverbs 31 woman. Hold on. Proverbs 31 woman. This is King Solomon's mother, right? Talking to him about the Proverbs 31 woman, right? So let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. All right. And while I'm pulling this up, make sure that you tell me, put in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. If this is your first time watching, and let me know what city and state that you're watching from. And if you will refer to us, let us know who shared Sisterhood Check-in with you. We'd love to be able to hear. I love when people share the broadcast with other people. Thank you for all of those that do take time and hit the share. So make sure you click like and share it with your family and friends and let them know Sisterhood Check-in is on the air. All right. So Proverbs 31 verse 10, it says, who shall find a virtuous woman? Hold on, let me get the right interpretation because I think this one is. Hold on. Let me make sure so I can. Okay, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ship. She was a businesswoman. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her handmaid. So she not only made food for her household, she made food for her servants too. She was not worried about her servants serving her all the time, right? She was hospitable, right? She considered the field and buyeth it, right? She was a real estate agent, right? Come on now, y'all. Come on, some of y'all real estate agents out there, right? She perceived that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She lay her hands to the spindle, and her hands holds the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yet she reacheth forth her hands to the needy, right? She is not afraid of the snow for her household. That means she doesn't care what the weather is like. She's going to make sure that her household is taken care of, right? For all of her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates. And when he sitteth among the elders in the land, she maketh fine linen and selleth it. Right? Again, she was a businesswoman. And delivereth girdles into the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She ain't mean. She ain't walking around here cussing folk out. In her mouth is the law of kind. In her tongue is the law of kindness, right? She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou exceedeth them all. And I want you to pay attention to that. Many women have done a lot of great things. But what's going to make you different? Which means what's going to make you different that is going to apply to your life where you can say, but thou exceedeth them all. Right? One way is to be resourceful, right? Creating an environment in your household for your children and your family, that takes an art to do, because we wear many hats. Women, mothers, we wear many different hats, right? If you're a businesswoman, if you're a mother, if you're a wife, or even if you're a single mother, we wear many different hats. And it takes a certain mindset to be able to put on those different hats and function and still be sane, right? It takes wisdom, it takes it's a gift, it's a skill, and it takes patience to be able to operate in all of these things that what the Bible says the Proverbs 31 woman is listed as, right? So when we talking about entrepreneurship, right? And we're talking about how managing a household prepares you for business. When you learn, when you are managing your household and you're doing different things to your household, like keeping your house clean, keeping the kids' clothes clean, keeping your children clean, making sure they're ready for school, making sure that they have all the things that they need, making sure your spouse, if you're married, making sure he has everything he needs when he's getting ready for work, making sure yourself, because we ladies sometimes tend to forget about ourselves, right? When we develop when we have a balance in maintaining our household, it sets precedence for us to be great entrepreneurs, right? Because when you are actually just I think about myself, and I talk about myself because I mean, I can't talk about somebody else's testimony. I can only talk about me, right? So I'm going to talk about me. When being a single mom before I became an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship was not something that I just said, oh, let me just get up and do. When I first started entrepreneurship, I started with the mindset of I need to make money. I'm a single parent. I'm no longer married to my former husband, and I have 4 kids that I have to feed. And I need to still be able to maintain, right? I still need to be able to maintain um oh, okay, I'm sorry. I still need to be able to maintain my household as a single mom. And I need to make sure that I'm not spending 50 hours on a job a week and not having time to raise my kids. I was always that type of mom. I didn't want to be the mom to work 18 jobs and don't have time to raise my children. I never wanted to be the type of mom that just throw my kids off to somebody, even if it is family or close friends. I never wanted to be that type of mom to just throw my responsibility off to somebody else and let them raise them. And then I just kind of parent them on the side. I didn't want to do that. So I made a lot of sacrifices in the beginning when my first husband and I separated. And I went to school for aesthetics because I've always had this desire for skincare and cosmetics, always have, right? And I was determined to do something with myself, but I was determined not to allow my growth to cause me to sacrifice my kid's life, because I knew I can always go back to school and gain a career no matter what direction I wanted to go. But I won't have a second and third opportunity to raise my children over and over again, because they're only going to be little but for so long. So I knew then at an early age that I was going to have to make some sacrifices. I had a lot of heat. A lot of people were telling me that it didn't make sense, that, we suffer financially. Well, some people might look at it as really suffering. I looked at it as that God provided for us. We didn't have everything we wanted, but we had everything that we needed. And because we had everything we needed, we didn't lack any good thing. We didn't lack anything. Did we go through some things? Yes. We went through a lot of things, but I can actually honestly say we did not lack any good thing. We had a roof over our head. We may have not had everything, like I said, that we wanted, but we had everything that we need, right? The Bible says he gives us all things pertaining to life and godliness. So I had everything pertaining to life and godliness. I was able to feed my kids, and it didn't matter. To me, it didn't matter because I didn't get it the traditional way of working 9 to 9 or 9 to 5. I literally had to depend on the Lord for me to just get through my day-to-day living, because I refuse to be the parent that I just looked at it as I'm raising somebody else's. I'm raising somebody's husband, wife, mother, and I was intentional in my parenting. And I didn't have a lot of support in that aspect, because most people, when they look at a single parent, especially raising children, they look at it as you need to be working a regular job. You need to be doing this. Everybody had a lot of opinions, right? But I knew that God was going to take care of me. And it didn't mean I just sat around on my butt all day and didn't do anything. I started to really depend on my gifts, right? And start to really look at what can I do? I started to become resourceful, right? Didn't even realize it till years later. And I realized, wow, I'm very resourceful when I need to, right? So I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? My car broke down. I was going, I was a licensed skincare specialist. I was going to different health fairs, trying to get clients. And man, I was doing, before there was email the way it is, email marketing, shoot, I had paper email, people writing their writing their email on a paper, and I was going to their house doing free facials with products that I made, right? And so I had to depend on God with the gifts and talents that I had and say, you know what? And it's something that I heard Eric Thomas say the other day. He said, him and his wife, he told his wife that, he wanted to buy a house in Cali, and it was $11,000 a month. And she was like, ooh, 11,000. And he said, what's the alternative? You need to be in a state where the weather is conducive because you have MS. What's the alternative? If you stay here where we are, I think they live in Chicago. If you stay in Chicago, then you're not going to get well. So what are the alternatives? What gift do I need to operate in or need to pull out in order to make sure that this money in this house is taken care of? And I say, you know what? That's exactly, even though I didn't say it the way he did it, but that was exactly my mindset at the time. I thought to myself, what can I do? What gifts can I have what gifts can I utilize, right? To be able to generate income for me and my kids where I'm not working like a dog, right? And I did that. I began to pull on my gifts and talent. I started to create my own skincare line and my own cosmetics. And I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. And I started to go out and go to different health fairs. And, they had doctors and nurses, but they didn't have skincare specialists. So I would show up with my expertise. I would show up with my products, and I would talk about how my products would help each and every woman that was dealing with eczema, because I specialized in eczema. I had actually got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to select my niche and I'm going to go full force in that niche. And that was my niche, eczema. I decided to focus on eczema. That was my focus. So I had enough clients when I would go to these health fair events and all these different events. I had enough clients that would help get me through each and every month. And I can tell you, there was not one household that I went to, because I didn't have any competition. I would sit down with them and I would introduce my products, tell them the benefits of my products. I would give them a free facial, right? And then every house I can tell you maybe one or two houses out of the whole time that I've operated IBG skincare and cosmetics that nobody didn't buy anything. And if they didn't buy it that day, it was because they didn't have the money. But they always came back and bought it because I followed up, right? They will come back and buy it that Friday. So technically, I never really had a client that didn't purchase anything, right? And I just believe that was the favor of God. And so I had to learn how to be resourceful. I knew down to the dollar bill what I needed to do, how much money I needed to have in order to run my household. And there were times when things was happening and I was worried because I knew that in order for me to continue to operate my business, I had to live within my means, which means I had to scale my life down, right? So I had to go from living in my own house and living at a certain dollar amount a month, living comfortably, to learning how to live within my new means, right? So that means that all the money that I had coming in, I had to be resourceful. I had to find ways to generate income so that I can take care of myself and my children. And the awesome thing about it is, when I look back, I'm like, wow, I literally operated in faith. I literally trust God every day. I didn't worry, about what I was going to eat, what I was going to drink. I trust God with the abilities that he's given me. And I just went and just operated in my gifts, right? And so when I say, when you can manage, you go from managing your house to managing a business, I learned then, okay, if I only have a certain amount of money, I know that I have to make sure that I'm a good steward over whatever it is that I do have. So if I know I need X amount of dollars coming in, I need to make sure that those X amount of dollars was dispersed in the correct areas, because I knew I wasn't going to have any extra. I had just enough to do what I needed to do. But the thing I loved about that time in my life, right, is that it taught me how to manage. it taught me how to, and those skills helped me in becoming an entrepreneur, right? So I knew how much money I needed to have in my business in order to create my products, right? I knew how much money I needed to have to function in my household. So I became resourceful. I did all kinds of things, right? Just to be able to generate income. So I want you to know, if you're home and you're a stay-at-home mom and you're frustrated and you feel like, dang, I just don't know what to do. I don't know if I can do this entrepreneurship thing. I want you to think about what you're already doing. If you're a mom, you're already managing a household. When you don't have what you need to manage your household, you get resourceful, right? You do whatever you got to do, right? And some of you do some illegal things to make sure things and it's not right. But some of you, when it comes to getting the things that your children need, you become resourceful real quick, right? You get out there and you do whatever you got to do. And it's the same way when it comes to operating your business. You have to be resourceful. You have to get out there and do whatever it is that you got to do to make sure, because it doesn't matter how great your products look, right? I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's always good when your products are nice. It's wonderful. It's beautiful, right? It's always beautiful. But it's, at the end of the day, your how your products looks is just a part of entrepreneurship. You got to know how to bring the money in. Okay? That is a skill set that you have to learn above every other skill. Learn how to make your products beautiful. Learn how to present it nice. Yes, do all of that. But the most important skill set you have to know in entrepreneurship is how to be resourceful, how to bring in the money, or your business will not survive. You have to learn how to build relationships, right? Not only do you have to learn how to be resourceful, you have to learn how to build relationships with people, because sometimes God will give you favor with people when you don't have the finances, right? God will give you favor with people and you'll be able to get things done. That's another way of being resourceful. I was watching this TV show with Grant Cardone, and it was talking about how they gave them, I think, $100, and they had to recreate $1 million business within 90 days, right? So within 90 days, they had to create $1 million business, and then they had to prove that it doesn't take a special skill to do this. But what they didn't tell you is that it's not that it's not necessarily, it does take a specific skill. But I think above all things, the number one skill is being resourceful. If you can be resourceful in your home, you can be resourceful in entrepreneurship. And once you become resourceful in entrepreneurship, you will be surprised at how you'll be able to generate income for your family and be able to provide a service or product for the people in your community, and be able to still operate and be there for your children the way you need to, and not work yourself and get out of this hustle and grind mode, right? I like when I was hearing this lady talk on Facebook, and she was talking about, as women, like, our job, we should not spend a lot of our time in the hustle and grind, that we're women, we should be able to operate in our femininity, right? And so most people think when you say femininity, they just think of external, think about how you look. And no, that's not a part of femininity. That's a part of femininity. But you can have people who look feminine and still don't know how to manage their household, don't know how to manage their finances. The key thing is learn how to be resourceful in your home. And if you desire to be in entrepreneurship, those same skills you can apply in entrepreneurship. Trust me, you can't run a business if you're not an entrepreneur, right? You can have a business, right, and have other people running it, but an entrepreneur is a person that is resourceful, right? When you learn how to become resourceful in your business, you will be amazed at some of the things we take for granted, the things that we know how to do. I think about some of the things that we know how to do. We look for skills outside of who we are, right? We look for things, learn how to do things outside of what's already on the inside of us. When all we have to do is see God and allow him to show us what's on the inside of us, right? And look at what you do naturally. I naturally talk. I can talk your head off. I may not be the best in interpreting how I feel, but I believe there are things that I'm doing and applying to my life that's helping me get better at that. Because sometimes I've been doing this almost 2 years. I'm still nervous when I get on the screen, because I'm still looking at, I have over 10,000 people that are watching. I have over 7,000 people in one group, 2,000 on my personal page, 300 and something. I don't know who's watching. So there's always that fear of, oh my gosh, what are they thinking? Do I look okay? Do I sound okay? Am I pronouncing my words okay? But I've always been skillful and good. That's always, I have the gift of gab. I can talk my way in and out of anything, right? And so when I was little, everybody said, you talk too much. You this, I would sometimes date people and they say, you talk too much. But talking, they didn't understand who I was. They didn't understand my gift, right? I have the ability to encourage. I have a way. I know I don't need anybody to tell me. I know that God has given me wisdom in a lot of areas in my life. And I use that wisdom that he has given to me in my life to help other women so that they can extract the wisdom from what they go through and let it become a life lesson for somebody else, right? So we're gonna take a quick break, because if not, I'll keep talking on and on and on and on, and I look up and the time will be gone. But we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna get back to this subject about entrepreneurship. How to go from managing your house to managing your business. We'll be right back after this. IBG Careers is looking for customer service representatives to service their clients from home. If interested, please apply at www.ibgcareers.com.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, yo time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go.
I have just launched a new skincare and cosmetic line. For those of you that were with me in the IBG era back in 2009, I have relaunched IBG Skincare and Cosmetics, but in a more dynamic way. So make sure you guys go and visit my website, NadiraLewis.com. Inspirational. It's funny, when you got so many websites, right? When you can't remember which website is which, when you go to www.inspirationalhealth.store and go look at my, I have inspirational gear from shirts to t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs. Make sure you guys go and support. I also have added makeup and cosmetics to the Inspirational Health store. Right. So make sure you guys go and visit it. I will put the link at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you guys go and visit my website. Make sure you also go visit NadiraLewis.com. NadiraLewis.com is a website where I talk about all things Nadira, right? I have different courses there where you can actually purchase them on a subscription base, or you can just decide to purchase one course at a time. Where you can purchase one course at a time. And just give me 1 second. My video, I'm again getting another call. Please forgive me. I'm in the mid of I haven't yet told everybody that I am recording. So for those of you that are watching, so make sure you go to NadiraLewis.com and make sure that you look at the courses that I have, of different courses that you that talk about life. They're life, I consider them life classes. So these are different areas and subjects that I've talked about, from dating, relationships, to oh gosh, this is a wide variety of videos. So make sure you go to nadiralewis.com. If you have not yet joined the Wisdom Clinic, make sure you go to nadiralewis.com and sign up for the Wisdom Clinic, where we do all things wisdom in every area of your life. It's only $7 a month. And I promise you, I mean, I'm working on some stuff. I'm adding stuff to it. And I have a whole lot of stuff that's coming. So make sure you get in early, because I've got some stuff coming down the pipeline. So yeah, make sure you check out my my new makeup and cosmetic line at the Inspirational Health Store, inspirationalhealth.store also. And I'll put all the links down below. So let's get back to the topic at hand. So we're talking about entrepreneurship. So I wanted to read this. We in Matthew 25, verses 14 to 30. We're going to talk about the parable of the talents, right? And I want to talk about this specifically when it comes to the gifts and the things that God actually has actually given us, right? Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting another call. And okay, here it is. I'm back. Okay, so I want to talk about hold on, let me just make sure I let them know that I'm recording. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So okay. So back to where I was. So I want to talk about Matthew 24, right? Matthew 25, right? Verses 14. It says, "For it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, okay, to another 2, to another 1, and to each according to his ability." So God is not going to and I said this a long time ago, God is not going to create expectation in an area of your life that he is not giving you ability, right? If he is not giving you the ability to function as an RN, then you're not going to be able to function as an RN unless you've been to school for an RN, if he's giving you the ability to do that, right? So he's not going to create expectations where he has not placed the ability for you to do it, right? I just wanted to add that in there. It says, "Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug it in the ground and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, 'Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here, I have made 5 talents more.'" So here it is. You have this particular person who had 5 talents, went out and multiplied and brought back 5 more talents, right? His master said unto him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much," right? "Enter into the joy of your master." Some of us trying to manage a whole lot, and we hadn't even learned how to accomplish where we are, right? We haven't learned how to manage what we have. Just thought I'd throw that in there too. That's for me too. I'm learning how to manage what I have. I'm learning how not to look to the left and look to the right and look at this person and what they have, and looking at, oh, this person has more than me. Oh, let me see. They live in a better neighborhood than me. Oh, they probably have this. I have learned to shift my focus on where I am and learn how to be grateful and content in the things that God has given me, because I know if I'm faithful over the things that he's given me, he's going to make me ruler over much. So I am not trying to operate outside of I'm trying to learn how to be a good steward over what God has given me, so that when he does decide to give me more, I can handle it. "Master, you deliver me." And he also had the 2. He said, "Enter into the joy of the master." And he also, who had the 2 talents, came forward saying, "Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here, I have made 2 talents more." His master said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Again, this servant had 2 talents. He didn't expect him to generate it to 5, because he gave him only the ability to function with 2 talents, right? So he gave him the ability. He was expecting him to multiply with whatever it is that he's giving him. So this particular person had 2 talents, right? He came back with 2 more. And then he said, and he said, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master." Verse 24, he also who had received the one talent came forward saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man. Now you're going to get deep. How many of y'all know people like that? Get deep. You got one thing. You have a gift and skill. And I did a video on this. Are you in preparation or Are you preparing or procrastinating? Right? Here it is. You got this person making excuses, right? Making excuses. I knew you'd be a hard man, right? Trying to go deep, right? Let me get my thing before. Let me see if I don't want to let my tablet die. Now you want to get deep. I knew you was going to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow. Now, did you notice that the other two, they didn't go through all that? They didn't try to get no hard explanation. They just took their talent. They went out and multiplied it. This one servant who had one gift started out making it, trying to go deep. I knew you would be a man that will come, that's going to come pretty much that you would be a hard man, reaping where you sow not and gathering where you scattered no seed. So, but then he says, but I was afraid. And I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours. But his master answered him and called him first. He called him wicked. Then he called him a slothful servant, right? So think about that, right? He called them wicked, right? Think about that. When you when you refuse to discover or operate in the gifts that God has given you, you become wicked, right? He looked at him, he said, you wicked and slothful, which means you were lazy. You procrastinated. That's why I did the video, or are you prepping or are you procrastinating? Because some of us use the excuse of I'm prepping and really they're procrastinating. And some of us, God is using some of the things we're going through a process. He set us aside and we're prepping all the things that we're going through in life. It's going to help us get to the place where we need to be. And when it's time, we're going to shine in whatever it is that God has called us to do. And that's the beautiful thing, because when you come out and you start operating in the gifts and talents that God called you to do, and you start operating in the plan and purpose of God for your life, you become a whole different person. You have a whole different attitude. You don't need nobody motivating you. You don't need nobody coming on telling you, patting you on the back. You do it because you're looking for you're looking for him to reward you, right? You find satisfaction and contentment in what he has given you alone. He said, so when he told him, look, I was scared, right? I was scared. And he said, you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming, I should have received what was my own with interest. In other words, if you were scared, you should have gave it to somebody else who knew how to multiply it, right? You don't know how to manage your money, then you need to get with somebody who can show you how to manage your money so that you won't sit around be holding your money scared, right? Get with somebody who understands how to manage money. Get with somebody who is skillful in educating with money, and get better and let them teach you about how to manage your finances. If you don't know how to keep up with y'all, get with people who know how to manage a household. If you're a parent and you're a new parent, you don't know how to become a parent, get with somebody who is a parent so that they can show you some things about being a parent, right? So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents, right? For to everyone who has will be given more, and he who will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Listen, right? You wonder why you see people who are, it just don't matter what they do, whatever they put their hands to touch, they just they just making money every time they think something, an idea come to pass, it just manifests. You know why? Because they're a good steward over their talents. They're a good steward over their gifts, right? It's the same way with you. You ever look at people and you be like, dang, like, why am I always going through this struggle? Why? Because you're not managing the one gift that God has given you. So that's why you're having trouble in your household, because you have not learned to master your gifts, right? Your gifts will make room for you and bring you before kings. Your gift will make room for you, meaning that it will put you in positions to be able to in order for you to have everything you need, right? So here it is. He said, I'll take the gift from him and give it to the one who got 10. You ever had an idea in your head? Let me tell y'all. back in 2000, before Uber was even who it was, right? I had my own, I wish I had the thing to show it to you guys, but I was the Uber, the neighborhood Uber, right? I developed a plan similar to the Uber Eats thing, right? And so I had created a booklet. I spent weeks creating this thing, creating pictures, creating a format. And at the time, PayPal was the only payment that online, they didn't have all the stuff that they have now. And I was collecting payments. I was going around passing the, having people sign up to sort of like what DoorDash do, a monthly fee, $10 a month. I had people sign up, right? So that they can be able to order, and I would give them a booklet, and then they will order their groceries, and they will let me know, hey, Nadira, I want a gallon of milk, I want this, and I will up the price a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, right, for convenience, like a convenience store. I would go to the grocery store, buy the groceries, right, and then I would keep my profit. But what happened was, at the time, I had so much stuff going on in my marriage, I couldn't focus, I couldn't be who I knew I was, because there was always something going on in my household. I was distracted. And then I started to feel like I didn't have the time. I didn't have the confidence, because I started to feel like I'm the only one that thought about this. I didn't believe in the gifts and talents that God has given me. I didn't believe, even though he was showing me, God showed me things even about the prepaid Visa and MasterCards. I remember telling my first husband in 2000 that the prepaid cards were going to be $1 billion business. And he was like, oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. So I'm telling you, God was revealing things. He will give you witty inventions, right? And I was sitting up there and I'm like, man, this is going to be, and I'm seeing all of this, right? So I didn't trust because I felt like nobody else was talking about it. So I stopped trusting and believing in the things that God was imparting on the inside of me, because I felt like I started looking at where I was. I was looking at, oh, wow, nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is talking about it. I'm the only one. I didn't want to be the pioneer in starting anything that somebody else wasn't doing, because I started feeling like, and I'm thinking all my life I've been the pioneer. I was always different. Even as a kid, I never wanted to be like anybody else. My family would think that I was weird, because I walked around, one day I walked down the street and I had on a red blazer, purple stockings, and a black and white skirt. And my family was looking at me like, girl, what's wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? I never been the kid that wanted to be like anybody else. So when it came down to me operating in business and being that same unique individual, trusting in the gifts and talents and understanding the purpose for my uniqueness, which is what my name, when I ultimately found out what the meaning of my name was, it means unique and of a rare kind, right? So I didn't want to be unique and rare in business, because I felt like I didn't want to deal with, I felt like if nobody else was doing it, then maybe it wasn't a good idea. Maybe it wasn't going to work. I also had the help of people telling me that it wasn't going to work either, because they had never seen it done. So I'm telling you what I know. I'm not telling you what I'm not shooting from the hip. I'm telling you what I know, right? This is a sisterhood check-in, right? We checking in on each other, right? And I'm talking the way I am because I'm passionate about making sure that we understand this particular scripture about how important it is for us to identify what our gifts and talents are, so that we're not walking around barren and comparing ourselves to the next person, looking at this person, looking at that person, and saying, oh, well, I don't look like them, I don't have what they have, and start to get discouraged because you feel like you're not where they are, right? God has given us gifts and talents according to the grace that is given to us, right? So each of us have something that we brought to the earth to be able to help our generation, right? So here it is. Here it is. We're talking, and we're still in Matthew 25, right? Where we're talking about the parable of the talents, right? Here it is. You got one person who had 10 talents, one person that had 5 talents, and one person that had 2 talents, and one person that had 1 talent, right? And here it is. The master was upset because the person that had 1 talent, right, was looking at the fact that he was probably looking at the other servants, right, seeing how well they're doing, and started to feel insecure that he wasn't able to fulfill or do or produce as much as he saw the other servants, right? I believe that's exactly, and I'm just speculating, but I believe that's what he did. I believe he looked at it as, man, they're doing a lot. They must be really gifted, right? Not realizing that each of us have a gift. I am realizing that I am starting to focus on, if I have the ability to function and operate more than one business, it's because I have the gift to do so. I don't have to be ashamed and say, well, because you ever listen to people and say, well, you can't do more than one business. You only can do one business at a time. I beg to differ. You may not have the gift to operate in more than one gift, right? But some people do. Some people can operate in 2, 3, 4, 5 businesses and do exceptionally well, because it's not a matter. Stop comparing yourself to what the other person is doing. If you know in your heart you can do 2 or 3 businesses, and God has given you the ability to do it, and you know that you can, because we're still talking about being resourceful, right? If you know that you can be resourceful, especially if you know you're resourceful, you ain't got no problem managing different businesses, because you know how to generate the resources in order to make your business function. I am resourceful. I know how to function in different businesses, which is why I have different companies, right? It doesn't mean that all businesses are doing all the same, but I understand that I have the gift to be able to operate in whatever the gift that God has given me. And I at least I can say, when I get to that point, when it comes to a point where my life, when I have to be accountable for the things that are put on the inside of me, I can say, God, I want him to be able to look at me and say, well done. I've given you this many gifts. I've given you sisterhood check-in, and you have done what I asked you to do. I've given you dinner with the coaches. You've done what I've asked you to do. I've given you a skincare and cosmetic line. You've done what I've asked you to. I've given you children, 6 children. You've done what I've asked you to do. I've given you a house. I've given you a car. You have done well, good and faithful servant, right? That's all I want to hear. I want to be good at what I do. And I am at a point in my life, I am no longer focusing on everything and everybody alongside of me. Because what I realize is, when you start to focus on everything around you, you forget who you are. You forget your gifts and talents. You start to look at, well, dang, maybe I ought to do it like this. There's nothing wrong with looking at different people for inspiration, but man, when you figure out who you are, that's a whole different ball game. That's a whole different ball game. So yes, I talk for a living and I love it, right? And I am going to keep talking, keep encouraging, keep building, keep creating until the day that I no longer am able to do so. I'm going to keep parenting my children. I'm going to keep running my business. I'm going to keep managing my household. I'm going to keep managing my finances. And most importantly, I'm going to manage my emotions. I'm going to manage Nadira and her emotions. And I realize that when I take more time out to manage and take care of me, that's what self-care does. Self-care is not about you gloating over yourself and being conceited. It means you are taking time to care for you, your mental health, your well-being. So there's things that I like to do. I know people might think, oh, I'm extra. That's why I got the necklace. I'm extra. If you want one, you can go to Inspirational Health store if you want one. But anyway, I'm extra. I've always been extra. I like over the top. That's just who I am. I like over the top. So I'm going to continue to be who I am. And I'm not going to allow what I feel or think other people think about me, who don't even have confidence in their own self, to change how I see myself. Because it's not what people say to you, it's what you whisper to yourself that matters. Because people can tell you that you are wonderful all day long and that you are awesome, right? It doesn't mean anything if you don't feel that you're awesome, if you don't feel that you're wonderful, if you don't know that you're gifted and talented and that you can do it. It doesn't matter what anybody else tell you. I said, I had did a post the other day. I said, I like me. So your like is extra. I like me. I like who I am. And I like how I learn. And I like how I learn my mistakes. How it was like that. I saw a TikTok video and it was like, I like how I learn. And I like how I learn from my mistakes. And I like who I am when I change. And I like the way I learn it. And that's how you got to look at it. You may not be like the next young lady to the side of you, but you have to appreciate who you are. You have to sometimes set your face a flint, and you have to stop looking at everybody else, and you have to take time to figure out who you are. Because you don't get extra time in this lifetime. You only have your life to be and to become the person that God has called you to be. So you don't have time to waste yourself. You don't have time to waste it on low self-esteem. Low self-esteem, you don't have time for that. You don't have time. You have to take all the time you have and esteem your own self. David encouraged himself in the Lord, right? When he lost everything. It doesn't mean that when you encourage yourself, that stuff don't happen. But if you don't, we have to be good stewards over our mind. And we have to make sure that we are our number one encourager. You know, he said, whatever is good, whatever is holy, what is of a good report, think on these things. That's how you keep your mind right. He will keep your mind in perfect peace when your mind is stayed on who? On him. Stop letting things around you steal your peace. Stop letting people's opinion about you steal your peace. Stop letting what people don't do or don't do enough of steal your peace. You are in control of your happiness. Your joy should come from the Lord, right? Because happiness is conditional. Joy is eternal. Stop allowing people who don't know nothing, who don't have no idea what God has called you to do, tell you what you're incapable of doing. So that's all I got for y'all today. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to go because I got some things I got to do. But I just wanted to encourage somebody, right? And let you know that if you desire to be an entrepreneur, if you learn how to manage where you are now, so that you can be a good, resourceful entrepreneur. And watch what God does. You don't have to worry about being like the next person. Don't let people make you feel like you gotta be perfect, right? I did a meme the other day about people, you know, because sometimes people will raise the standard for you this high, and they don't even keep the standard that high for themselves, right? Stop letting people tell you what you're capable of doing. Take some time and talk to the one who gave you those gifts and talents. Talk to the one, spend some time with the one who is responsible for sharing and letting you know what you're supposed to do in the earth realm. Because you depend on people to tell you, and people always are going to have the possibility of being wrong. They might come close, but man, you can't get it wrong with getting it from the Creator. You'll never go wrong getting it from the Creator. And don't worry about if you're good enough. You get better with time. Just do it, because you don't have all the time that you think you do. We only have our lifetime to do what it is that God called us to do. So make the most of your time. Make the most of it. Make the most of it. Okay. So again, if you are watching us for the first time, right, make sure you put in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching on the replay, make sure you put #replay and let me know your thoughts about the discussion that we had and about entrepreneurship and about the gifts. Let me know if you know your talents and gifts, right? And I'll respond to you in the comments, and let's dialogue about this thing. Let's help each other, right? Let's help each other do what God called us to do. Let's help each other, keep each other accountable for being who God designed us to be. Will you do that for me? And don't worry about being perfect. Perfect comes with time. Done is better than perfect, right? It's the start that stops people. And I always say that. So make sure I'm going to play these last commercials. Make sure you guys pay attention to my commercial. Visit my website. Support me as I continue on this journey of becoming a woman of Proverbs. There are a lot of things in my life that are teaching me and helping me become who I am. And sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, man, Nadira, you have grown a lot. That's why I'm always becoming, because I am learning how to take my experiences and use them to help me to become a better person, helping me to become the person that God ordained me to be. So check out my commercials, and I will see you on Sunday with me and visionary coach Thomas T. Taylor III on Sunday with Dinner with the Coaches at 7 p.m. So watch these commercials, and I'll see you on Sunday. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. I'll talk to you soon. IBG Careers is looking for customer service representatives to service their clients from home. If interested, please apply at www.ibgcareers.com.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Yeah, it's my time, your time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go.